we interrupt your normally scheduled Let's Play channel for the special broadcast because you probably deserve a little lull in your life. Entitled Parents is a place you can put all those wonderful stories of moms or dads thinking that because they have kids, they are entitled to everything. Stories about spoiled children and their entitled parents are also welcome. Because millennials, that's why they think they own the world, but they don't own shit. Let's begin. Let them eat cake! Long ago, way back in the before time, I worked for one of those bulk warehouse club stores. My trade was simple. I was a wrangler of the silver buffalo duty, retrieved the old ghetto strollers I did. Let's just read that in full. Long ago, way back in the before time, I worked for one of those bulk warehouse club stores. My trade was simple. I was a wrangler of the silver buffalo and dutifully retrieved the old ghetto strollers I did. The job in and of itself wasn't the worst I've ever had. I've got plenty of exercise, got to be outside, and generally didn't have to interact with the members, calling them customers taboo for the most part. The thing about this job is that the company I worked for had a reputation for being cheap. Just see more often than not, I was on my own. I was on my own out in the parking lot. Big whoop USA. You gather cards? You should see how hard my job is. Yeah, well, shut up. This is my story, but much. I digress. The reason that being alone sucked is that this store didn't have just one kind of card. Hell, they didn't even just have two kinds of cards. You had your classic garden variety card, the little kitty cart with a plastic facade to make it resemble a car, the electric scooters, which weren't supposed to leave the store, but did so with alarming frequency, and finally the bulky hard-to-control flatbeds. And on top of that, whenever someone needed help loading their haul in the minivans, I was the guy they called, you know, because the greasers, cashiers, and managers were all busy. And you might expect one man cannot be in multiple places at once, and as a result, on some of our busier days, it became incredibly difficult to keep enough cards in the vestibule. Our story begins on one of these days, so there I was, chugging along like a good worker drone, struggling to keep up with the sheer volume of people coming in to buy cheap bulk goods. Sure enough, I get a call from the radio. I love to, but I'm barely able to keep up out here. He couldn't. I didn't want to push my luck, so I complied. After spending 20 minutes loading people's purchases, because when one person needs it, then they all need it. I came back to find my vestibule a near ghost town, save for the single-line cars that was half gone and, Karen. I won't waste time describing this specimen. She was the prototype. You know what she looked like. There she stood, menacing, tapping her foot with such speed that could make any metal drummer green with envy. And you could collect the contempt in her gaze in a jar. Why are they flat ones? I blinked for a moment. I'm sorry? Mexicans. For the record, I'm very much white. Where are the flat ones? Oh, you mean the flatbeds. I'm sorry. I was just helping some other members load their merchandise. And Haven't had a chance to... Oh my God! I don't care about your excuses! You have one job, and a trained monkey could do it! I just want this lady out of my face so I don't fight it. Sorry, ma'am, I'll grab one from the parking lot for you. You'd better. So I go back out to the lot and find a whole line of flatbeds sticking out of a crowd blocking several parking spaces. I push them all to the vestibule where she waits. Her thing about how I'm wasting her valuable time. I separate one from the rest and bring it to her. I'm terribly sorry about the wait, ma'am. She leers at me with utter mess. Unbelievable! And with that, she dismisses herself into the store where she would be someone else's problem. I shake my head and return to doing what I paid to do. About 15 minutes later, I'm returning a line of carts when I see her pushing her flatbed to her Miata and yawning about stupid people, but suddenly referred to me on his cell phone. You know that she had bought what she had insisted on having a flatbed for? A cake. And this wasn't even like a big cake. It was one of those little circular numbers like this. You know, the way they look like this. A Mickey and Minnie party cake. You know, something that looked like this. See this shit right here? That's what it looks like. It looks like this. Anyways, I read this as she continues to yabber about how I nearly ruined I tell you her precious baby birthday party. I mean, the most curious thing happened. She's still clutching her phone with those high-line scoop claws of hers. She attempts to pick up the cake with one hand. The plastic topper pops off and she spills the cake all over her undoubtedly expensive designer outfit. Seething with white outrage, she knocks eyes with me. You! Get me another cake! Now! Terribly sorry, man. I got one job and these cars won't gather themselves. I walked away. She's eating grin plastered on my face and she shrieks as her shrieks faded into the distance behind me. I've had my share of nasty customers interaction before, but this one really took the cake. Yeah! Yes, we have all been there before. Reminds me of GameStop. Every time I look at it, yeah. So let's see. What else is there again? Okay, so let's see. Well, let's see. Since we're on retail, we start with retail. Let's continue with retail. So, backstory. I work in retail in Australia. I've been working this company at my first job for just over a year when this incident happened. I worked in the children's toy section for presentation, which if you don't know, basically means I have to polish all the shelves so they look nice. This particular day, I was called in for a Sunday shift, which means I got penalty rates. Unfortunately, all the systems were down as soon as I showed up, meaning that unfortunately for all the staff, it was absolutely hectic. Another thing to note for this story, I have high-functioning ADHD, anxiety and depression. I am on medication for my anxiety and depression. But fortunately, I went out the day before the shift and therefore couldn't take it. I completely forgot to check how much I had. Because it was so busy, rather than having to do children's toys by myself, I had another girl helping me. She was lovely, but only in the store for a second. The first thing that happened was a little boy broke a glass vase, and the noise, people, and amount of mess indoors was overwhelming. I managed to clean up all the glass without a child getting hurt, and then getting back to my job. As where the adult parent comes in, I'm walking back to the aisle. I'm walking on and see a man letting his two daughters lay across the aisle on the ground, blocking everyone's path. Hi, lady. Is it okay my kids are on the ground? I'm sorry, sir. No. With my ADHD, I often don't know which tone of voice I'm giving, and unfortunately, I said it all mumbly jumbly and just pretended nothing happened. Okay, well, they're just playing with the toy, so they're fine, right? I'm sorry, sir. The toys like that laptop, they're not supposed to play with. It tells you bought it. Okay, lady, whatever you say. Aren't you just an emotional teenager anyway? I had enough of his abuse, which I normally get from customers anyway, and walked into the next aisle until he left. Until he followed me. Look, I bought something. You should have kept your mouth shut, you stupid emotional teenager. He was very insistent that I was emotional properly because I'm a girl. I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, you better be, stupid emotional teenager. At this point, I'm extremely overstimulated. Overwhelmed, and because I didn't take my medicine, very explosive. Honestly, I fear for your daughters, considering you're such a cunt. For what I say, it's cunt. So I say cunt. Me in my head. I did not just say that, did I? How dare you say that word in front of my daughter? You know what I can do to people like you. It continued on and on until people were watching. I ignored them, but got the name of my name tag. Reported me to the store manager. I got called into the office and sent home. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call for an interview at the store manager. I keep my job. I'm only 17. So I thought they'd fire me for sure. My manager explained to me that the only reason I kept my job because it's my first and only offense. But any more means I'll get terminated. Customers will begin cut. I call them cut. I kept my job. If anyone done beneath my sword, I'm more than happy to upload a link to my indecent report. Again, why fuck that shit up? You know, it's like you're working your ass off, and then you run into one of those entitled assholes. Guess what you gotta do? You gotta pull out the golden rule of robotics. It helps if you know the golden rule of robotics. Basically, you are not to harm anyone. You don't question anything. And even if you do question it, do not, by any standards, ask why. That's the short form of the golden rule of robotics. Basically, don't harm anyone. Don't question why you're here, let alone why you're doing what you're doing. Just know that you're here and you have a job to do. There you go. Okay, so let's see. We got an entitled mom here. So let's read this because it's something about martial arts, and since I do love my martial arts, I got to. Okay. So this is quite a short story, but to sum it up, I go to my uncle's Taekwondo dojo and have been going for about a year now. And new kids come and go every now and then. And now all these kids are usually younger than me. I'm 16. And the oldest one that has come into the dojo was 12, 13-ish. Now, Q and Title Mom are two hellspun kids. They joined and already gave off that shitty, I'm going to do what I want and be annoying attitude when confronted about it. They just shrugged my uncle off, the Taekwondo teacher. Now, all this was about 2-3 weeks ago, and the two hellspawn kids, oldest one was 14 and his younger brother was 5, were getting cockier and cockier by the days, and at one point tried to fight the other kids to show off their new Taekwondo moves. One day we were getting taught how to spar properly and some techniques. I usually spar with my uncle, but since this kid was about my size and looked like my equal match, my uncle decided to match him against me. Not a problem, right? Nope, this kid was aggressive as hell and couldn't even throw a proper Taekwondo kick and was trying to punch me and kick my legs. Not allowed in the dojo since it's mostly kids. After 1 or 2 minutes of him throwing horrible kicks and punches, he decided to just use maximum power and kick me in the chest, which was not recommended since we were only practicing, and misses. My uncle sees this and tells the kid off for doing so, and the kid just brushes him off. And we continue fighting only for this hellspawn to throw another kick as hard as he can and keep doing so. I tell my uncle about this, to which he just tells me to try and defend his attacks and wait until we've finished, so my uncle can talk to him and get him to stop. He throws another powerful kick, to which I use both my forearms to block, and this kid hit his ankle on my forearms and ended up messing himself up pretty bad. We call an ambulance since this kid... Go away, ads. Let's see here. We call an ambulance since this kid is screaming and rolling on the floor, all while not responding to anything we ask him. The ambulance arrives, and as soon as the paramedic asks him what had happened, he magically stops, gets up, and answers to him, pretending like nothing had happened, and calmly tells the paramedic my name kicked me. And as hard as he can in my ankle. After we got into an argument, my uncle was livid and proceeded to call this kid's mother and tell her to pick him up. Leanne takes 20 minutes to arrive and acts annoyed the second she walks in and demands to know who hurt her kid. Excuse me. My uncle responds and tells her that he is not hurt and repeatedly ignored important instructions about sparring. And as soon as this is brought up, she blows up and threatens my uncle and says how she's going to sue my uncle and shut this place down, and storms off with her 2 houseboats. My uncle sent her a message and told her to never think about coming back, to which she hasn't come back yet after 2-3 weeks. Housebound kid of her ignores instructions about fighting, hurts himself, and lies to which Ian threatens to sue my uncle. You know, if it were me, and mind you, I take jiu-jitsu myself. If it were me, and somebody were to basically throw a punch at me, I know the power of Jonkin. Okay, you know, if you don't know Jonkin, it's basically rock, paper, scissors. You can use rock, paper, scissors. Basically, you can do an eye poke. Scissors. You can grab the fist. Rock beats paper. To an eye poke, paper beat scissors. to scissors, rock breaks scissors. And if all else fails, grab them by the fucking neck and start wringing their guts out. For there's one thing I will do. And if you want to take me seriously, you can. Otherwise, don't take it seriously. I will fall you! I will make sure that you do not ever want to pull that shit again. I have ways of hurting people. I have ways of making people to fear me. I don't have to do much. But, say you get in my face, you tease me, your ass will and forever get run the fuck down. Okay? Okay. What's more fun? Yes, now, we need somebody, we need somebody to, basically, we are going to the captain of the towns for this, because, I think he needs to, I think he needs to, really, just read this, because, you know, he's the man of the sea after all. Okay, so here we go.
It's another one of my sister's stories. Sorry I didn't act as I have examined. So, okay, so like what Protovenge have done with the fake name, so I'm going to use that as well. So here who we have. We have Karen, we have a Derek, we have an Alice, we have a Gemma, a Hayden, and a Cassie. Okay, so here's the story. It is still early before the flight has to leave, so everyone is shut into the gates. Most asleep or looking exhausted. Derek and Gemma arrived extremely early when the gate was starting to fill and sit directly in front of the desk, behind the disabled seats. Hayden knows this for certain because for this flight they were making the airline staff check everyone's bags. They sleep. Derek falls asleep while David sits under a bed. It's arranged 15 minutes. Karen and Alice enter. Hayden sees her and gestures them forward to the table where she and her co-workers ready checking her bag. Good morning. May I see your boarding passes and passports on the photo plate, please? Yes, one moment. Go to that. Sorry, miss. But before she goes anywhere, I need to see your boarding passes and your passport. Okay, then. Kaylee proceeds through her pockets and fees. She takes off her bag in a panic and goes through it and pulls out 2 passports. Yes, I need to see. I need a boarding pass for these passports. Mom, I want to sit down. Can't she go and sit with her dad? He's right there with her other daughter. Unless I see her boarding pass and passport, I cannot. It is company policy, ma'am. I seem to have lost my boarding passes, but you can go and print us another one, right? The boarding passes are not equipped to print boarding passes, miss. The boarding gates are not equipped to print boarding passes, miss. This is ridiculous. It's the airline's responsibility to give us boarding passes. And they did when you checked in at 1:46, miss. The airline is not accountable if you lose them. Can Karen and Alice please come? Can Karen and Alice please come to gate 34? Karen and Alice to gate 34? Come on, hon. They returned, boarding passes in hand. Karen looking grumpy. We wouldn't have to have walked all the way to that gate if you would have just printed our passes. Thank you, miss. Have a nice flight. The funny thing about this story, Hayden said, was that when Carrie appeared at the boarding gates for her flight, she did not have duty-free back. She did not have a duty-free back, but when she came back retrieving her boarding passes, she had 2 duty-free backs.
I'm sorry, but when we're reading this, we're just not gonna make sense of this shit because it doesn't make sense because entitlement. Because you got the value. No complaining, no point is arguing. Don't be an issue. Do not defend the entitled pets. No trolling. Shit post belong in the entitled pets memes. Join the server. Keep believing it's beside the postnet and to include an entitled pet. Advertising. Moving on. And if people just do not see the fact that I am doing this just for the lulz, then there's a problem for you. You probably do need to seek help. You need to seek help immediately because you do not have what is called a sense of humor. Moving on. Okay, so we got an entitled mom that flips out after I eject her son from the baseball game. So, this happened last night, and I'm still shaking up a weight. I'm an umpire for kids' baseball games. Umpires like the referee. And I normally don't have to deal with entitled parents. Most parents come over to me after the game and say that they like the way I umpire, even if their kid strikes out on a bad call by me. So, last night I was walking home plate, calling every pitch. I called strike 3 on a tall kid. He is under 13 years age and taller than me, and I'm 5'5" and a 15-year-old mate. On a pitch at his knee, and he pushes me over so I could throw him out and mark upon the lineup card that I cost number 5 in the 4th inning for bumping me. After the game, I head to the umpire changing room with my partner, who is the boss's son, so I can file the report on the entitled bot who I ejected from the game. This is where I'll see its entitled mom. In the following conversation ensues. Doug Omni, you need to report this to the boss right now. Yeah, I know that. I was going to do a report when I go home. Good, you can do that, but I recommend reporting it now on the phone. I can call it. Why did you throw my precious boy out of the game? Ma'am, I did. I did. I did that because he bumped me, and if anyone bumps the umpire, I must eject them immediately. That doesn't give you the right to eject my son. He only poked you. Mind you, he full on shoved me. Ma'am, I can't and probably will be telling the umpire in chief about what you're saying to umpires, and you might not be welcome at games if you don't stop. You need to leave the kids alone. They're doing this so your son can play, but he indeed did shove the umpire. You only say that because you coach the other team. No, ma'am. I'm not saying that because I coach the other team. I am saying that because it's true. I'm gonna get both umpires fired because I know the fucking keeping umpire chief. Call the umpire in chief. So I can file a report on this bitch and this boy. Now calls of harassment. And she won. And she leaves. And has the I won smug look on her face. I hope I'll never have to umpire for that team again. If I do, I want the cops there in case it happens again. Because my son is the greatest thing in the world. And let me tell you something. During my job as a volunteer assistant teacher, I've seen pretty much everything that needs to be seen as far as parents have been entitled. And my God, I've seen some kids that do know how to spell, and some don't. Some know basic math, but I feel that their parents do stupidly entirely so much that they're paying out the ass for this kid. He or she are trying their best. But they blow this shit out of proportion. And when they do, I can only look at them. And me, this is me. I'm sitting at my desk. I'm noticing all this. I'm taking this all in. So picture me at a day in the office. This is me at my day in the office. I got tons and tons of papers on my desk. I got about, like, say, 2 reams of paper. They're basically, let's say, they're all tests. Okay? They're tests for like 3 weeks. I'm going through all these tests. Here I have with me my marker of sorts. I have my red Sharpie. I have a purple pen. And the only thing I do is I go through it, say, 5 seconds at a time. Okay. We got, let's just say we're doing like 10 part. Let's just say we're doing like spelling bees or spelling tests rather. Here I am. I say if I need be. If need be, if for some strange technicality I had to call the kid over. Sometimes I may have to go to the chief and ask her, okay, now run this through with me, just in case. I said, if he spelled it right, but he worded it wrong, does it still count? She says, okay. I said, okay, so it's okay for me to call him or her over, just so I know they understood it, even though it wasn't really stated down on paper right. I knew this kid that actually did the phone. They can spell, but they have an S backwards. So the one thing that had to be noted was, okay, if you spell this, I'll give you credit. But if you spell it, say it. It's like this. You have to say it, spell it, and say it again. Just like spelling bee. Spelling bee rules. You have to say it, spell it, say it again. So I call this kid over. Let's just say the word was bombs. Okay. BOMBS. Bombs. Let's just say that for the sake of argument. He gets it right. I give him credit for it. Even though it was spelled or written down with a backwards S. I said, okay, I'll give you credit for it because you know how to spell it. I'd rather give him a mark just because, okay, he said it, and make a little note of it. He spelled it. I said, spell it, so therefore, I said, he spelled it, so therefore, guess what? You're okay. I have seen plenty of entitled parents in my line of work. And mind you, when I was working at the school, there have been many of these entitled parents that come by. Oh my God, my ears are like, could you please stop talking about your kid? I have one of these stories. I remember. And one of these parents came by was a grandparent. And I remember this kid This kid was being such an ass that technically gave his grandma grief. So here I am. I'm packing my stuff because I'm about to go home. I've done my shift. I'm ready to hit the street. I'm ready to go home. And mind you, we were right by the bungalows. Before they actually moved to the main building, the original place was the bungalows. So we were right by the kitchen. The room that was there is right by the kitchen. So when I come in, I came in through the entrance, center entrance, went to the left of the house. I mean, the left of the facility. Went into the room. My seat was there, and that's basically where I'm stationed at as teacher assistant. Now, okay, let's just say it was on a Thursday or Friday, one of them days. This kid comes in. He takes a ball from the ball pin. He goes outside. Excuse me, I got a bit of gas. He goes outside and he basically does the phone. And like I said, I am packing up. I'm about to leave. So here I am. I'm talking with my then chief, who is who by the way is still working at the school. Just learned this recently. She just came back. Okay, so she and I were talking, and I'm sort of noticing outside. I'm looking outside, and here I listen to this kid, plain as day, throw a hissy fit on his grandma. So here it is. I go outside immediately. I don't go any further. I just go right to the steps. So I call him over here. And I said the following. I said, boy, I don't want to ever hear you talk that way to that woman ever again. As a matter of fact, give me that ball. He gave me the ball. I want you to apologize to her for acting that way. You have no right to talk to her like that. She is older than you. She can pass for my grandmother. You don't ever, as long as you live, ever treat someone of that age or any age like that. You don't ever raise your voice to someone who's older than you. Do I make myself clear? He says, yes, Mr. Izzy. I said, do I make myself clear? Yes, Mr. Izzy. I want you to apologize to her right now. I'm sorry. No, I mean it. Apologize to her. When I get real upset, I really articulate my words. Or when I'm really in the zone of when I'm reading text or I'm in a character, I start to really pull that out. It's like it naturally comes out when I'm really in the thick of it. So I have the ball in hand. I watch this kid. He says, I'm very sorry for raising my voice at you, Grandma. He says, do I get the ball back? I said, no, you don't get the ball back. Get out of here. So she looks at me, and a little smile just like creeps up on her face. She's like, I say, anytime, man, anytime. I walk back in with ball in hand and just like slightly dump it back in the bin. And for what it was worth, my boss just looked at me. She said, "Well done." I said, I saw what you did outside. I said, well, I said, basically for me, it's all about principle. I said, originally, for people who don't know this, originally I was raised by my grandmother before my mom and my dad actually raised me. So, therefore, I was raised up by my grandparents before my parents. They got me around, I'll say, when I was like 5 years old in Louisiana. So therefore, even to this day, it's like my grandparents, basically, I treat them with respect. They're gone now, but still, the point of it was, you may be a kid, but you're not entitled to saying you're not entitled to any adult who tells you to leave, especially if they're family and they take care of you. You don't take care of yourself at that age. You're 5, 6, 7 years old. No. To that, you just say yes'm or yes, sir. To this day, when I go up there to the school, it is separate from the church, but it's on church grounds. To this day, and this is funny, I see this kid now, and he says, "Hey, Mr. Izzy." I said, "Hey, man, how you doing? You look great. Is everything all right?" He said, "Yeah, Mr. Izzy. Thanks for asking." And then he stops me for a moment. I said, "Mr. Izzy?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Thank you for that time." I said, "Oh, you mean that ball incident?" I said, "Yeah. Thank you for talking to me like that." Most of what I read here, I said most of these posts that I can pretty much see, I said either the following happens: there is no male role model to be seen on the premises. Either that, or there's clearly a lack of adult role models in the distance. It could be an entitled dad, it could be an entitled mom. Hell, it can be an entitled grandparent. But the thing about this is, for what it's worth, yeah, sometimes you need to put a boot in somebody's ass just to make them shut the fuck up. For sometimes
it must be done right, because we are supposed to be adult.
Thank you, Captain. I couldn't have said it much better than that.
Anytime. Can I go back to the Thames now?
Yes, you may go back to the Thames.
Thank you.
So let me see. Before we end this video, because I've been running on this for about 45 minutes. Yeah. Let's read about this. Okay, so let me see. I would need somebody to yeah, Edgeworth. Yes. Would you kindly read this for us? My pleasure. Her son had to give up his seat for disabled passengers. I remember every moment I witnessed in my daily commute a few years ago. I am from the Philippines, and the commute here can be very harsh, especially during rush hours.
I rode a bus one night from my tutoring job to my college campus, and it was jam-packed. I would elaborate, but just know that the bus was full, that the air conditioning can't be felt anymore. A disabled guy in crutches boarded the bus, and the conductor talked to a mom and his son sitting down the second wall from the front. Since the son was in the aisle seat, he made the son give up his seat for the man. And the bitch reacted and loudly ridiculed the conductor for separating her from the poor son who will now need to stand. More people boarded the bus, so her son was pushed farther to the back. It's further, but still. Now, the louder bitch proceeded to rant to the conductor. She complained about why her son had to give up her seat when there were young ladies in front who could give their seats. Our country, after the elderly, disabled, and pregnant women, ladies get the next priority for their seats. She also complains about how her son might get lost in the bus or be harmed. People started shushing the bitch and abashedly called out the shamelessness of said bitch. I could see her son looking hopefully at the bitch, but also acting like the victim and looking annoyed that he had to stand, rolling his eyes whenever the conductor pointed out that it didn't matter who gives up the seat. Her son looks to be about 18 or 19, wearing a college uniform, and she does all the complaining, sitting next to the handicapped guy. Now, Edgeworth, what do you think about that?
I think this bitch needs to be put on trial. And for what it is worth, she needs to be objected. She needs to be booted for being called a parent. Because what she has done, she needs to know. Disabled people are people too. And for that reason alone, my friends, for that reason alone, she needs to understand that there are people who are in less shape than her. They need the help as well, because they too need to be serviced because of what happens. I have seen this one too many times. There have been people who have went through the system, through so much bullshit, excuse me, that technically you have to shed a tear for them, especially if they have a hard time, especially for the disabled. Now, there are some people, and I've seen this. I have seen this with my own eyes. There are some people who are entitled. There are entitled disabled people too. And sometimes it's usually the way it sounds. They had to throw a hissy fit because they are in a bulky ass seat. There are some that do not have the privilege. Nay, not the privilege. But they have to be forcibly use what they have to make it all work. Some people cannot use their legs, and some people can. Some people can, indeed.
use their legs. And they better thank God that they have their legs. Only because it is hard being disabled from one person to another person. Disabled people need love too. Thank you, Edgeworth. Anytime, my pleasure. So as he was saying, yes, I myself, being disabled, I use access to get around. I also have a tap card. So basically, I use my tap/access card to get around LA. So I ride the bus for free. I don't mind standing, nor do I mind sitting. I don't mind moving out of the way just so someone in a wheelchair can get the spot they need. I have no problem trying to move out of the way as long as they get where they need to get to without little and minimum fuss as humanly possible. There are some people, and as Edgeworth has just stated, there are some people that basically abuse that. They abuse being disabled because you have to take care of me. Sir, there is a system for people like you to be taken care of. If you get Social Security because of disability and you can't work, you are being taken care of. If you have somebody who is technically with you, being your arms and your legs, or most time being your legs, and they're behind you, and they're basically taking care of you. Caretakers need love too, because my God, it's so difficult. I can say that too because I can say I'm a caretaker to my old man. And most times I have to listen to a whole bunch of mess that comes around here because, sometimes it happens. You're having a good day. Then all of a sudden, person A comes in. They start making a fuss, kicking up dust. And what they do is usually, I don't care about this, and, it's just stupid. There are people who are disabled, but not in the sense that you normally don't see, or you normally do see. There are some people who are disabled to a point where, mental. So technically, the worst thing you could be, and I've seen this before, is being so far tore up to where you can't even rely on your own mind anymore. That's the worst part about it. You can be mentally disabled, not just physically. You can easily be mentally disabled. And I've seen too much of that. It's a sad thing, but it's like this. You have to take care. Even from my standpoint, you have to take care of people. You have to have compassion for people. If you see somebody who's having a hard time getting up on the bus, you help them. That's what I see the drivers do. They turn they turn up the ramp, bring out the ramp. They let the people on the wheelchairs and scooters on. They take up the front. Guess where I'm going? I'm going in the back. Or if there is a seat available, I'm taking a first seat that is available. But never in day in life would you ever want to feel like, oh yeah, well, he can't have this because I was here first. You know, remember YouTube. First! That's all you had. You have some people who say, first! It's like, first for what? Are you sure you're saying first or thirst? Because it seemed like you're more a thirst than first. Sometimes it's like that. But, I mean, I'm telling you, entitlement is not a thing. Yes, I did just say that. Entitlement is a thing. More so now than it's been years ago. It's always been there. It's just more like it that people are being more vocal just because I have rights. You do have rights, but you only have certain rights you have to use. You have certain rights that need to be utilized. Yes. Even being a douchebag. But only in the means of if you're being treated unfairly versus you being a douchebag is something that people need to know, the line. Because most people just basically don't know what they're doing, and they only think they know what they're doing, but they really don't. So, I don't think there's anything else. Oh, yes. Well, I think we'll do one more. Oh no. We got to do this one. We got to do this one in the proper tone of the one, the only, the Wonder Chef. So, Wonder Chef, please take it away.
This pisses me off when I think about it, so I thought sharing it would help. Okay, so a little backstory first. Me and my friend are at this fancy restaurant downtown. I had just gotten my pay from my job, and I thought, why not celebrate it? My friend and I ordered this large menu containing all different kinds of things like shawarma rolls, fries, and so forth. While we are eating, I noticed this little kid and his mom sitting at the table next to us. He had been staring ever since we began eating, and it made me uncomfortable, so I tried my best to ignore him. I get tapped on the shoulder, and oh boy, here we fucking go.
Excuse me, but can my son have your fries? You aren't eating them.
I look over at the table, and they notice they still have a lot left to eat. We are going to eat our fries, thank you very much. Your son is not having any.
Oh, come on, not even one.
Nothing, mind your own business. Surprisingly, she sits down and continues, except that she now kept asking me every 4/5 minute that passed. This went on for a long time until my friend had enough.
Leave us alone, for fuck's sake! My son wants to have fries, doesn't have to eat even how rude!
My friend ignores her and tells the waitress that she is bothering us. Our plate is suddenly smashed onto the ground as the bitch yanks our fries out of our plate. Everyone saw her do it, but she still tried to act like she didn't do anything. The poor waitress then asked her to leave, but the bitch goes on full retard and starts screaming at the top of her lungs. A KP had already called the police, and the bitch got banned from the restaurant. We didn't even finish our food, and our experience was ruined. And next time, I'll order pizza. Wonder Chef, away! Poof.
About that, let me just say, about this. Yeah, that's one thing I can't stand. That is like the one thing I really cannot stand if I'm going to a restaurant or if I'm going to a buffet. I see, let's say, back in the days, hometown buffet during the early 2000s. Maybe partially to, yeah, it was basically the early 2000s. My parents and I go to hometown buffet almost every other Sunday. If not Sunday, we go on a Saturday. So, if you ever go to a hometown buffet, or therefore you would go to somewhere now like Golden Corral, Sizzler, or anything of the sort, any kind of buffet place, you will see a fat ass. A fat ass so fat, even Gutsman had to cry because his ass could not compare to the ass that you had to see right in front of you. Now you got the dumpy. You got the dumpy bitch. You got wide load. And even you have,
Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me.
now, most times, whenever I go to say, hometown buffet, I see dumpy. Dumpy is always
That fishbowl thing.
called ass.
That fishbowl thing.
That is called an ass. Sometimes I have no choice but to look because guess what? I'm eating my food. Originally, this is what I do first. I usually get myself a taco salad or a salad of some type, but always for me is always taco salad. So I get a salad first. Then I get myself my plate. And I would say I would have, like, depending on my appetite, I might get 3. I might get 3 plates. I'm sitting down. I'm listening to my folks talk. The one thing I'm doing is I'm eating. I'm minding my own. I never do check my emails while I'm out because I usually wait till I come home to do that. So here I am. I'm eating my lunch, dinner. And yeah, dumpy walk past. Sends my nose aflame because of how she was smelling. Her aura was so nasty. Basically, it gave me the shudders every time I think about it. How nasty are you to where your aura is so nasty it makes you shudder to where you almost can't eat? Now, mind you, you got Dumpy over there with the fishbowl thing, and then, I'm sorry, but it's like this. You have all this food on your plate, and you got the fucking nerve to basically pick. No, not go into it, but you pick. You pick at the plate because you're a quote-unquote picky eater. Okay, first off, bullshit. Second of all, you're saying you're not hungry. I'm like, okay, first and foremost, I look hungry looking at the plate. I mean, you've seen some of these plates. They're like molehills. It's like you got a fucking colony of food. You got side 6 over here. You got side 1 over there. You got side 3 over there. Oh, look, there might be the Xeon colony because you might have the Xeon right over here, and that might be considered the salad. And then for some reason you say, "Oh, I'm not hungry." Not only have you wasted money, but you have wasted the people's time in doing such a thing. They invite you over to eat to this place, to this establishment called Hometown Buffet. Now I go to Golden Corral because it's different, or I go to Scissor because again different. And when I like to eat, I like to have the salad bar. Depending on what I like to have something that basically says, "Oh hey, I like to sit for a while and enjoy myself. I like to enjoy while I'm eating. I want to enjoy this as an accomplishment to myself." You have Dumpy sitting across from the table, and she's eating like she's Miss Prissy. Miss Prissy don't really want to eat because she says she's on a diet. To me, I would think, okay, look, you ain't Nell Carter. Because at least when she was alive, she did have a figure. Even if she was big, she did have a figure on her. And for what it was worth, well, yeah, she had a badunkadunk that one quit, but, it wasn't like just disgusting. I mean, if she did a little shimmy, but, a little shimmy is better than no shimmy. At least she was proud of herself, and she did it. But Dumpy here has too many asses to say save one. I've seen people that are dumpy, and they got the nerve to act like Mr. or Mrs. Prissy. I'm on a diet. I look at my plate. I compare that to hers. Mine is like basically a solar system. I have the planet of Salad over here, connected to the colony of the main course, which we shall call it Dinar. We have the drones, which are called Soda and Slurpida. And then we got over here as a satellite chocolate milk tea. Yes, chocolate milk. So we got chocolate milk tea as basically the satellite. It's basically right over everything. It's in its own orbit. It is right there. I find that disgusting that people eat like that. I mean, I have nothing against people who are fat or quote unquote big bone or obese. But as said Cook, first and foremost, you eat to live, you eat to enjoy, you enjoy to eat. You live to eat to enjoy, and enjoy to live. That's what you're supposed to do with food. You're supposed to enjoy it, not act all goddamn prissy about it. Not to be a bitch about it. And definitely, You are definitely not supposed to be asking, am I going to eat that? I said, do you see me eat this right now? If someone were to say that, are you going to eat that? I'm like, yes, I am going to eat that. I just don't have it in me to eat it right now. I'm having salad here. I'm having salad right here in front of me. And I like to enjoy my salad. I don't like to be sickened by my food by somebody who's just looking at it longingly, passionately, saying, oh, salad. I want to rub you all over my body. Oh, you know, that sort of thing. Like, the fuck is wrong with you? What you have isn't good enough? Oh, but it's not like yours. I get that at Subway too. Some people would do that at Subway. I go to Subway and sometimes I get that same kind of situation. But you got badonkadonk. You got skit skit skit. And then you have ha. Now what I mean by badonkadonk, that is basically dumper. Or more like wide load. You got a dumpy with a wide load. That is nowhere good because for what it's worth, they look at your food and then they got the nerve to say what that is. It's a sandwich of my own design. I like calling it Subway because I like to have a sandwich of my own design. Is there a problem with me having a sandwich on my own design? What is wrong with you asking? What kind of sandwich is he making? I was like, I can tell you what kind of sandwich I'm making. Let's say I get a steak and cheese. I said, okay, but what I want is this. I want steak. I want pepperoni. I also want some bacon. Is it okay if I can go for, say, roast beef? Okay. I like to have a small slab of roast beef. Would there be anything else there? Sure. I would like to have spinach. I would like to have red onions, green peppers, cilantro. And this is right after it's being cooked, by the way. I also like to have a bit of sriracha. Maybe a little bit of, if they have it, sometimes they do. Pico de gallo. I also would like to have a cookie. I would like to have a double chocolate chip cookie. S'il vous plaît, por favor, kudasai. And I say this all with a little smile on my face. They look at my sandwich and say, that's a big sandwich. I'm like, yeah, but for me, it's enough. Because I like to have myself a very hearty meal. So you can have a hearty meal and enjoy yourself. But if you're just gonna eat if you're gonna eat prissy or eat like you have never eaten in your life, and you go, like the fuck is wrong with you? Have some goddamn sense about yourself. Have some pride about yourself, damn it. You are entitled, but goddamn, man, slow your roll. You make other people sick around you. I'm still hungry. Man, you better get your nasty hands off my plate.
But I'm still. Can't you speak for yourself? How much money do you have? If you're out of the fan, get your fat ass up and start walking down the aisle. Maybe, and just maybe, considering that you will not create ground zero with your farts. And God forbid you will not make anything more than, say, ground zero with, say, the farts, man. Oh, and please, if you're also going to, if you also seen this, so there are some people who basically do this with their kids, and I've seen this at a Chinese food place I go to called the J Buffet. I usually go sometimes when I feel I have extra time to kill when I'm in Compton. And this is right after I'm done with class. Let's say I leave around 5. The only thing I'm going to do is just go out and sit down for a spell. Probably catch up on my emails and videos. But for the most part, I'm just going to eat and enjoy. Just say have 3 plates. That's my usual 3 plates. If I'm just really famished, I will go for 4. But if not, 3 is my minimum. 4 is my maximum. 3 is my minimum. Anyway, if you have kids, help your kids. They say they want that, let them have that. But they gotta make sure they gotta eat it. Don't just get it and waste it. Don't let them waste it. You have to remind them, look, I paid good money for this. Now, if you don't mind, do me a favor, eat your plate, what you have in front of you, before you start saying, I want something else. Oh, and do not try and ask for somebody to feed you, because nobody else will feed you. You have to feed yourself. As I said before, if anybody were to ask me, can I try some of that? I said, okay, that depends. Are you gonna let me try it? This is what happens in my family. Years ago, and to this day, it still happens. My old man, whenever he and mom go out, they always bring me back a portion of. They always bring me a portion of what they had. Whatever they didn't eat, I would take. I said, okay, because maybe I didn't eat. And I'm grateful that they do think about me. I mean, that's basically saying, we thought about you since you've been doing whatever. Here you go, son. I said, thank you. I said, are you sure I can have this? I said, sure, you can have it. Because guess what? You're fine. We had enough while we were there. Thank you for, this is for you. I'm like, it's for me? Yeah, you for being you. Okay. So you enjoy it. We ate. Don't worry about it. Okay. That's just being grateful for what you got. That's all I can see it as. But, man, these stories, let me tell you, they kind of parallel to what I deal with almost in real life. And the situations I run across. It's kind of like with the one about GameStop. The stories. So, from anything else that you want to read, you can indeed
check this out for yourself. I will have this in the description box below, in which I'm just going to do that, like so. And for what it's worth, I hope you have enjoyed this little something. If you have a story about something similar to the stories I read and the stories I've shared, please leave them in a comment and you know, share it. Don't just let it just not stay on YouTube. No, share this video. Please share the story. You know people want to hear it, but you know people want to read and want to share their thoughts about it. So with that, I have been your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi. And I hope I brought a smile to your face and a tear to your eye after you've laughed. I'll see you next time for more great content. Until then, take care, and I will see you next time. Dai Tensho!